Hey, good morning, Trondheim friends, and welcome to this week's edition of Patio Ponderings. My patio today is right in front of the front entrance to Trondheim Church, where all these beautiful flowers are blooming. All our gardens look so wonderful this year, thanks to the many people who put in hours of work to make them look that way. So I'm going to enjoy that today on this beautiful summer day. So this last week in worship, we preached on the roots of our Lutheran belief, our Lutheran tradition. And we read from verses in the letter to the Romans. This was one of Martin Luther's favorite writings in the Bible, and he felt it represented the pure gospel very well. And so, but here's the particular verse and the issue coming out of that verse that I've been thinking really hard about in the last week. So it's Romans 3 verses 23 and 24. All have sinned and fall short of God's glory, but all are treated as righteous freely by His grace because of a ransom that was paid by Jesus Christ. This truly is the core of the gospel, and it is the good news on which we base not just our Lutheran faith, but our Christian faith in general. That Jesus lived and died and was raised again because of God's incredible love for all of us. And through that act, through the cross and resurrection, we are put in right relationship with God. And it's not about what we do, it's about what God does for us. It is grace. So grace is a word we use a lot in our Lutheran tradition. What I found particularly interesting in having some conversations with different people after worship is that what people feel like they heard a lot in their own churches, especially growing up, was not grace, but rules. That faith and Christian values were about what we did, but mostly what we shouldn't do. And so that's what I've been thinking about, that's in this faith that's based on the gospel, that's good news, that's based on grace. Why this kind of return to a rules-based faith? And we're seeing this a lot right now in our public sphere. We have a renewed impulse to want to put into public spaces, into government buildings and our schools, the 10 Commandments as a reflection of our Christian values. Except that the 10 Commandments are not our Christian values. The cross, Jesus' death, Jesus' resurrection, God's love for us, and the grace with which our forgiveness and our salvation is given, those are our Christian values. And in response to that, our call is to love. So our Christian values are about grace and love in the fullest sense of the word. And so I keep pondering why this desire, why this impulse to go back to the rules and the law. I can guess a little bit why that might be. Perhaps we feel like there's clarity if we have particular rules. There are specific boundaries we know we can't cross. By having particular rules and focusing on those, we can assess ourselves and judge ourselves to know how well we're doing, except that always bleeds into assessment and judgment on other people. Well, they're not following this rule right, and they're not following that rule right. That gets a little dangerous. Those rules and laws then tend to get to be a gateway for who we think is in with God and who we think is out with God. And we forget that the gospel is about all people, that all people fall short of God's glory, all people have sinned, and all people are made righteous through this gift freely given. So I'm perplexed this week, and I'm pondering hard, and I'm going to invite you to ponder with me, to think and reflect deeply on this. This issue of wanting to make our faith always about rules has a rippling effect that's not healthy for us, and that turns out to be not such a loving thing for those around us. So what do you think? Why do we want to return to rules and faith when we have a message of good news, of grace, and of love for all people at the root of who we are as followers of Jesus? As always, I would love to hear what you have to say. Enjoy this beautiful, beautiful day. I hope you too are surrounded by beauty, and we will see you on Sunday. Bye.